Welcome to the bridge course program. Let us see what we have learnt on the topic biogeochemical cycles in the previous classes. So, what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is a mixture of gases. So, it surrounds the earth as a layer. The main components of atmosphere are nitrogen, oxygen, smaller amounts of argon, carbon dioxide and water vapor. The atmosphere acts as a protective layer over the earth, trapping heat to maintain moderate temperature, blocking harmful solar radiation like UV rays and providing air for breathing. So, because of this atmosphere, life is possible on earth. So, what about biogeochemical cycles? They are the natural pathways that recycle essential chemical elements and compounds between living organisms, the atmosphere and the earth crust. That is why we call it as bio. Bio means living organisms, plants, animals and microbes. Chemicals means like nitrogen, oxygen, water, all. So, they are present in the atmosphere. Geo means earth, earth crust. So, between these three, the elements or the molecules move from one area to the other. So, they are exchanging from these three areas or these three elements. So, these cycles are vital for sustaining life by ensuring the continuous ability of nutrients and maintaining the earth's ecological balance. They involve the transformation and movement of elements like carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus and oxygen through biogeochemical processes. How carbon moves between atmosphere, living things and earth crust. So, how the carbon enters into living beings? With the help of photosynthesis process. Plants take carbon dioxide from atmosphere during photosynthesis. What happens to that carbon dioxide? That carbon dioxide is converted as food. So, animals eat the plants for food. That means animal get carbon by eating plants. When plants and animals die, their remains can become part of the earth crust. That means animals die means decomposition of animal bodies and plant bodies. The materials present in that plant bodies mixes with the soil. So, carbon is also released back into the atmosphere through respiration by plants and animals. We know that when plants and animals respire, oxygen breaks down the glucose molecules. By that process, we get energy. We use that energy for various purposes. And also in that process, carbon dioxide releases. So, we do not use that carbon dioxide, simply our lungs sends out this carbon dioxide into atmosphere. And also carbon released back into atmosphere by burning fossil fuels in the vehicles and also in the factories. So, children, let us observe the carbon cycle with the help of these images. Now, you can see here where the carbon dioxide is present. Carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere. You know that carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere that 0.03%. Carbon dioxide enter into the plants with the help of stomata for the process photosynthesis. In photosynthesis process, they prepare food. That food is eaten by the animals. And plants and animals respire. In that respiration process, carbon dioxide released back into the atmosphere. What happens if the plant bodies and the animal bodies destroy or decompose? The nutrients present in the plant animal body mixes with the soil. So, you can see plant and animal bodies are burned or they are partially pressurized. So, పాక్షికంగా ఒత్తిడికి గురి కాబడిన plants and animal bodies నుంచి fossil fuels అనేవి ప్రొడ్యూస్ అవుతాయి. So, the fossil fuels are produced from the plant and animal bodies. It takes lakhs of years. So, these fossil fuels are used in the vehicles and also in industries. When these fossil fuels are burned, carbon dioxide gas is released into atmosphere. So, that is how carbon dioxide is transmitting from plants and living beings to the earth and also from earth to the atmosphere by burning the fossil fuels. So, this is how carbon cycle occurs in the nature. Let us see the other element in the atmosphere, that is water or water vapor. So, what is the amount of water on the earth? So, you can understand with the help of this picture. So, water on the earth, this is the pie chart. So, in this pie chart you can see which is occupying in the big place. Here you can see the seas and oceans. So, 97% of water, 97.2% of the water present on the earth is in oceans and seas, that is salt water. So, rest of the water, that is 2.8%. 2.8% of water is fresh water. So, we use that fresh water for various purposes. Do we use that fresh water? No, actually the 2.8%. Imagine the 2.8% of water as 100%. You can see here in this pie chart, 68.7% is in the form of ice. We can't able to use that ice for any work. So, if you see groundwater, groundwater is 30.1% and surface water is 0.9%. So, surface water means the water present in the streams, rivers and lakes. So, that is 0.9% and 0.5% is in the form of frost. Frost means that is completely in ice form. So, this is about the fresh water pie chart. So, on the whole 100% water in the earth planet. So, 97% is salt water, 3% is fresh water. Out of 3%, 2% is in the form of unused, that is in the form of ice or frost. Now, only 1% of water is useful for us to make various kinds of things with that water for agriculture and also for drinking and other purposes. So, why do living beings require water? Living beings need water for many important reasons. To stay alive, we require water. These water helps in digestion, circulation and removing waste. And also to maintain our body temperature, we sweat in the time of hot seasons or hot day, because to control our body temperature, we sense the water out in the form of sweat. And for making food, plants require water for preparing their food. Carbon dioxide and water both are required for the plants. For transporting nutrients, water carries nutrients to all parts of the body. Water is essential for all life processes in plants, animals and humans. Children, we have seen the use of water. So, how this water moves or how water cycle occurs in the nature. So, see, during the daytime or at the time of sunny day, water evaporates into atmosphere. Water escapes into atmosphere in the form of water vapor. This water vapor goes up into the atmospheric layers. What happens there? When that water vapor cools down, that water vapor changes as the water droplets. That water droplets sticks together and forms clouds. That process is called as condensation. After condensation, what happens? The water droplets abundantly gathered in the clouds, they are not bearable by the clouds. So, cloud immediately sends back them to the ground in the form of rain or snow or hailstones. That process is called as precipitation. So, these are the three important processes we see in the water cycle, that is evaporation. Water evaporates from water bodies and also water evaporates from plants also. Here you can see the second picture. So, what happens if a plant takes 100 liters of water, that plant uses only 1 liter of water, rest of the 99 liters of water escapes into atmosphere. That water is also returns back on the earth in the form of rain. Children, we will see one more element, that is nitrogen. So, what is the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere? 78% of nitrogen is there in the atmosphere. So, why do plants and animals require nitrogen? Do you know? Plants need nitrogen to make proteins for growth and stay healthy. You know, in the previous classes, proteins are very essential for healing wounds. it is used to make chlorophyll, which is needed for photosynthesis. So, in plants it is very useful for photosynthesis process. In plants and animals it is useful for making proteins. Do plants use atmospheric nitrogen? So, in atmosphere 78% of nitrogen is there. So, are plants directly taking that nitrogen into its bodies? No. The nitrogen is in the air, is in the form of nitrogen gas N2, which plants cannot absorb. Instead, nitrogen fixing bacteria in the soil or in the roots of some plants like Leguminaceae family or like beans plant change atmospheric nitrogen into the form that plants can take up. Those are in the form of nitrates or ammonium. This process is called as nitrogen fixation. Plants then absorb these usable nitrogen form from the soil into their bodies through the roots. You can see the nitrogen cycle. So, in the atmospheric nitrogen, so atmospheric nitrogen is in the form of nitrogen gas. This nitrogen gas is converted as nitrogen oxides like nitrates, nitrites and also the ammonium by the bacteria, and these nitrates or ammonia is absorbed by the plants, and plants use that nitrogen for making proteins. So, here you can see in the previous slide we have seen that plants like Leguminaceae, they have the bacteria in their root nodules. Here you can see the root nodules, they are round granule like structures on the roots. These are the root nodules. Inside the root nodules we can find the rhizobium bacteria. For example, groundnut plants. In groundnut plants, if you pull out the plant and you see these kind of nodules you will see. So, in that rhizobium bacteria are there. These rhizobium bacteria absorbs the nitrogen from atmosphere and fixes the nitrogen in the soil in the form of nitrates. That is called nitrogen fixation. So, what is the use of oxygen for living beings? Living beings need oxygen to stay alive. Oxygen helps us to break down the food in the body. So, this gives energy to do work, grow and stay healthy. Children, do you know oxygen gas is called as breath of life. Why we call it as breath of life? Without oxygen, food is not changes as energy. Without energy, we can't able to do any kind of work. Even we can't able to breathe, we can't able to sit. So, that's why oxygen gas is called as breath of life. What happens if we inhale the gas? Where this gas moves into? See here in the picture, when we inhale the gas, that gas enters into our lungs. What happens there in the lungs? You can see the small chambers in the lungs. Those chambers are called as alveoli. These alveoli are surrounded with blood vessels. You can see in the third picture. Those blood vessels always, the blood flows always in those blood vessels. So, the gas present in the air, that is oxygen, that oxygen diffuses into blood. This blood transports this oxygen throughout the body. What happens there in the body? Each and every part of our body contains crores of cells. Each and every cell gets the oxygen. What happens in the cells? In each cells you can see this kind of organelle, that is mitochondria. So, in mitochondria, oxygen oxidizes, oxygen burns or breaks down the food into energy. That energy is useful for hearing. You are hearing the class and I am saying the class. So, for these kind of activities we need energy. So, children, do plants also breathe oxygen like humans? Yes, plants also require oxygen for break down glucose in their bodies. Generally, by what people thinking that generally if we take the food, immediately we get the energy. No, that can't happen in our body. What happens if we take the food? That food should be digested in the digestive tract. The complete digestion process occurs in the small intestines. From small intestine, completely digested food released into blood. Blood transport that food into throughout our body. In the throughout our body cells, this respiration process occurs in the mitochondria. Then the energy releases. Okay. So, this is how it happens in our body. Children, we have seen various elements or compounds, how these elements are moving from earth to atmosphere, from atmosphere to living beings. So, let us meet with one more topic. Until then, thank you.